original Dragon Ball is absolutely timeless. Beginning its 194 chapter run in 1984 with the little monkey boy meeting a girl searching for the magical Dragon Balls that will grant any wish, and ending with that same monkey boy growing up to defeat the greatest evil that the Earth has ever seen, it's truly a story that anyone can enjoy. Those original 194 chapters of Dragon Ball were later condensed into 16 volumes, each having its own special cover artwork done by Akira Toriyama himself. Personally, all of these covers are amazing in their own way, but objectively, some are better than others. So we created a list of every original Dragon Ball manga cover and ranked them, from Z tier being the absolute best of the volume covers to F tier being the not so great volume covers. Be sure to let us know which of these covers is your favorite, and let's get into it. Starting off, we have Dragon Ball Volume 1, the very first one that kicked off literally everything, and this is an absolute classic looking manga cover. Like, I don't think anyone who's ever heard of Dragon Ball, this one is extremely iconic. I think this is probably the best one on this entire list, mainly because it's just Kid Goku. He's got the power pole, he's on top of Shenron, he's looking whimsical and fun just like the OG Dragon Ball style is, and I don't think it deserves to go anywhere lower than Z tier. I think that's not a hot take, it's not a hot, steamy, controversial take. I think it definitely deserves to go up there, and I will not hear any opinions saying otherwise. And then we have the 40th anniversary redraw, which was done by Masakazu Katsura, who did Z-Man, and just to set the precedent for this tier list, I will not be ranking the redraws. I do want to talk about them, I want to compare them to their original, but out of respect for the mangakas that decided to actually help out with this tribute for the 40th anniversary, and out of respect for them as mangakas themselves, I'm just not going to rank them, because in reality, I can't draw, and I can't be like,
yeah, this is actually better or worse than, I think this one's an F tier.
because the reality is, I cannot do better, and I'm not going to pretend that I can do better, and these artists are people that I respect with my entire soul, so I'm not going to rank them, even though I am going to rank the actual Dragon Ball ones, but those are just based on preference, and I think everybody has kind of an opinion on, the different arts for these, but the redraws, I'll leave alone. I am going to talk about them, though. I think the 40th anniversary redraw does a really good job of capturing what the original one did. I think the original can obviously never be outdone. I think the way that it really frames everything in that picture and like keeps everything in that box and really fills out that entire space is just really well done, and it's just screaming Toriyama all over the place, right? Whereas like the redraw, it's a little more subtle, it's a little more in the background, but I still like it, obviously. I think it's still really cool that these redraws even happened as the 40th anniversary tribute. And then we have Dragon Ball Volume 2. You've got Bulma in like a cowboy outfit, and she's on top of like a dinosaur looking thing. There's a little water flask hanging on the back. The thing that they're riding kind of reminds me of a chocobo. It's got the same color scheme. It looks just like it. You have Goku sitting on top of its neck, and it looks really happy to be there. Overall, just really good art. It kind of captures that OG Dragon Ball feel, even though I don't think they ever really ride a dinosaur, but it definitely feels like, Bulma and Goku going on a little adventure. She's got her gun in her hand. I like this one a lot. I'll be honest with you, it's really hard to rank these because I just love a lot of these manga covers. Like, I'm really conflicted on where I want to rank any of these, and I know for everyone out there, everyone has a different opinion on which manga covers are better, and it's really hard because I know that the comments will be up in flames, because if I rank something lower than where anybody else thinks, I know in my heart that they're not even wrong, because I understand that there can be a love for all of these in their own separate ways. They all have something a little different to offer, so I'm entirely with you if you start clickety-clacking in the comment section saying that I'm completely wrong, because the reality is I probably am, and you have a different opinion than me, and I'll be so real. I will put Volume 2 into S tier. It is fantastic. It encapsulates that energy that Goku and Bulma have together in those early days of Dragon Ball, but it's not as iconic as the very first volume, but it's really hard to hit that same level of iconic as that first one does, because it's the very first one. And then we've got the 40th anniversary redraw of the second volume, which was done by Tatsuki Fujimoto, which was the person that did Chainsaw Man. Again, I'm not going to rank this one, but I do really like this one because it feels like the mangaka's original artwork. It feels like their style, and it doesn't lose the original value that we saw with Volume 2. It still captures that essence of like adventure with Bulma and Goku together riding on the chocobo thing. I do kind of hate that the chocobo now looks like an actual wild animal instead of feeling like, a sentient being. I liked that in the original version of Volume 2, the chocobo thing has like sentient eyes and is smiling, because that's very Dragon Ball. Like, a lot of the animals in Dragon Ball look like they actually have conscious thought. They look like they're one scene away from just starting to talk, because there are talking animals in Dragon Ball. And then we have Dragon Ball Volume 3 with Goku outside the World Tournament, Master Roshi in the car behind him wearing his iconic sunglasses, and of course, like I said, you have Goku standing front and center in his orange gi with the blue accents. He's looking a little confident, like he's ready for the tournament. I love this one. There's no space wasted, and it really does capture that feeling of the tournament arc for Dragon Ball. I'm gonna put this one up into Z tier 100%, and I honestly am a little conflicted on on which one I like more. I think the volume 1 and 3 covers are like really tough competitors with each other for like the absolute best Dragon Ball manga cover, at least in the OG run. And then we have the 40th anniversary redraw of volume 3, which was done by Koji Inada, who worked on Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. If you didn't know, Toriyama worked on Dragon Quest for some of the series that are out there, so I'm sure that Koji Inada and Toriyama collaborated at some point, and that's kind of reflected with this artwork. Like, the styles from the original volume 3 and the recreation are like, they're very similar. And what's interesting about this is that Roshi is no longer in the car, and in the background you have 2 Dragon Quest characters. You might confuse them for Bulma and some random guy, but that's actually Mam and Chiu from Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. And it's kind of funny because you see the little question mark above Mam's head, and she's like wondering where the hell she's at, and she's in the Dragon Ball world, obviously, because they're in the world tournament. Overall, really cheeky art. I really like this one, and it captures that original essence that you get from volume 3. And then we have Dragon Ball volume 4. We see Goku wearing some aviation headgear as well as goggles. He's got the power pole on his back. You see the turtle hermit symbol on his back. It's classic Goku, and it's interesting because he's riding basically like a jet thing, I'm assuming. Either that or it's like a land cruiser that just has a rocket booster on the back. And it's cool because we never really see Goku use technology like this, and I wish it was something that we did see in OG Dragon Ball, because he gets the Nimbus Cloud in OG Dragon Ball and he kind of just relies on that for the majority of the series. I think there are some moments where he does get on bikes with Bulma, and there might be some episodes where he does maybe hijack a plane or like something. It might be filler, I'm not sure. I do really like this one, but I don't think I like it as much as I do the one with them on the Chocobo. I really like that Bulma and Goku are on that one together, and despite me liking Goku being on the jet bike, I would say this one is probably still an A tier, which is still very good, but I don't necessarily think it's at the same level as the one with Goku and Bulma. And then we have the volume 4 40th anniversary redraw, which was done by Kira Amano, who also did Hitman Reborn, and I love this redraw because there's no essence lost when you look at this versus the original. They feel like they're capturing the same feeling. It's just a different perspective, and obviously like a little bit of a different art style. But honestly, if you were to swap these two, I don't think I would bat an eye, if I'm being completely honest with you. They look very similar, but they're also very different, but in a good way. And then we have Dragon Ball Volume 5. We've got Goku on a Capsule Corporation motorbike that's his size somehow. He's wearing a green gi. He's got his power pole out. This feels very Dragon Ball. It feels like he's on his own little adventure. He's going and doing his own thing, and it really does capture the OG Dragon Ball vibe. I think literally all of these covers do. I will say, I think this one is definitely S tier. It's not quite as good as the Bulma and Goku on the Chocobo one, but it still does capture that, like, let's go on an adventure type of vibe. I really like it. And then we've got the 40th anniversary redraw, which was done by Yoshihiro Togashi, who did Hunter x Hunter. And in their version, obviously it's in their art style, but this time Goku's now looking back, but Gon is on his own little motorbike and he's trying to keep up with Goku. And it's kind of sick because whenever I watched Hunter x Hunter, I always got like a Kid Goku vibe from Gon. I also think it's kind of convenient that in the original version of this volume, Goku's wearing green, and so you kind of see the two men together right there. And then we've got Dragon Ball Volume 6. You've got Goku on the Nimbus Cloud looking cocky with his power pole extended. You've got General Blue in a car with the Red Ribbon logo on top of it as well, that's like just barely peeking into the frame. And then you've got like a little helicopter that's in the sky as well. This one is iconic, man. This one is beautiful. I love this one. And I love doing this video, I'm not gonna lie. This video is great because I actually get to talk about my opinions on these manga covers, and it's stuff that I've thought for years when looking at them, but like these are just great. Like some of these are just fantastic, and this one 100% goes into Z tier. It's iconic, and it really just captures that entire vibe of Goku versus the Red Ribbon Army. There's so much happening in the back, looking confident and cocky as ever, like it's just no big deal for him. I love it. And then we've got the 40th anniversary redraw, which was done by Hiro Shibashi, who did Neuro, The Rise of the Yokai Clan. And I gotta say, I think so far this might be my favorite redraw. It captures the exact same essence, but the use of those streaking colors in the background really are something crazy to look at. I also think it's funny that Goku for some reason is now wearing sandals instead of like his actual shoes, and also the Nimbus Cloud is green for some reason. I just love some of the creative choices that the redraws make, because obviously they could just do a one-to-one recreation of what the original was, but we get some unique elements that we otherwise would not have seen had this redraw not happened for the 40th anniversary. And then we've got Dragon Ball Volume 7. We've got Bulma on a green motorbike. She's wearing a white Capsule Corp t-shirt, backwards hat. She's got purple hair, which for some reason is a thing at some points, and then it goes to blue. Same thing with Trunks. It's always kind of weird. You've got Goku hanging off the back and holding onto her pants, and like while he's doing that, he's kind of like pulling them down. It's that like crude humor that you get in OG Dragon Ball, you know, but that's a topic for another time. As far as this manga cover goes, I like it, but I think the one with Goku on the bike on his own is definitely better. I do like that Goku and Bulma are together in this one again, like the Chocobo one that we had an S tier from before with Volume 2. I think this one probably goes into like a solid lower A tier, just because it's kind of got that like perverted humor in it, and we already had one with with Goku and Bulma that like felt a little bit better with them together. And then we have the Volume 7 40th Anniversary redraw, which is done by Mikio Ikemoto, who did Boruto. And I think with this one, especially in Goku's face, you can definitely tell this was the artist for Boruto, for sure. A little bit with the hair as well, but overall, this captures the exact same essence that we had before with the original version of this. You have Goku pulling down Bulma's pants. It's still weird, obviously, but I do like the colors that are used on the redraw. It really punches out the characters. Like the orange in Goku's gi is very, very bright, which I really like. And then we have Dragon Ball Volume 8. You have Goku wearing his iconic orange gi, you have Roshi wearing a helmet that says Kame on it, and you have Oolong holding a revolver at the viewer and reader. And it's kind of funny because we all know guns don't do anything in Dragon Ball. This one to me is fantastic. I love the framing on this. I love that Goku's ready to strike. He's got that same pose in like a lot of the different covers so far. I think he's used the power pole in like at least 5 of the volumes that we've covered so far. But I mean, Goku's using the power pole throughout Dragon Ball. So I mean, how are you going to complain about that? This one for sure goes up into S tier. I like this one about as much as I like the one with him on the bike, but I do really appreciate that he's using his original gi and the original color scheme that he has in the actual manga and show. And then we have the Volume 8 redraw done by Sui Ishida, who did Tokyo Ghoul. This one is like the most random redraw that we've had so far. It kind of just does its own thing. There is still the car in Goku's hair, which is the original car that we see in Volume 8's original version, but it's just Goku's face looking off into the distance, which I don't mind necessarily. I still do like it. I like that it's in their own style. And most of all, I love that it kind of reminds me of that Tokyo Ghoul meme with the way that Goku's posed up in this picture. You know the one that I'm talking about? You know this one? No one hit me up, only real ones know. You know what I mean? And then we have Dragon Ball Volume 9. This is kind of similar to Volume 2, but I actually still prefer Volume 2 a little bit more. You've got Goku riding the dinosaur now. He's actually the person in the saddle instead of being on top of its head. You have Bulma holding onto the tail, and the little dinosaur guy has like a little Thor headpiece on, which I kind of like. It's got the wings coming off of it. I really, really like that, but I don't think I like this one more than the original Volume 2, mainly because I really like the feeling that both Goku and Bulma are on equal footing here, whereas like on this one, it's like Bulma just holding on for dear life, and it doesn't really feel like they're a team as much. We also don't see Goku's face, which I kind of hate. So on this one, I would put it into A tier. It's not quite on the same level as Volume 2, but they both kind of are the same vibe. And then we have the Dragon Ball Volume 9 40th Anniversary redraw, which was done by Kenta Shinohara, who did Sket Dance. And when I first looked at this, given the color scheme of what Bulma's wearing and just the way that this is framed, I actually thought this was Goten and Trunks for a second. I do like this version a little bit better. I like that we see both characters' faces, and I also like that they're both on the front of the saddle and Bulma's not just like hanging on, flailing in the background. We also don't lose the human aspect that the dinosaur has in its eyes like the Volume 2 redraw did, where it just kind of felt like a wild animal. This one still captures the feeling of the dinosaur being like part of the team, even though it's just like some random dinosaur that we've never seen before. And then we have Dragon Ball Volume 10. This one is fantastic. I love the muted colors that are used on this original manga cover. It's so good, especially with Goku in the back. He's going Super Saiyan Blue as a kid. It's kind of wild. Obviously he's not, but just the way that the color grading is done, it's just so well done. For me, I don't think this one's quite Z tier, but I do think it is the highest S tier that I can give for sure. It is so good looking. And then we have the 40th Anniversary Volume 10 redraw, which was done by Shun Saeki, who did Food Wars. And I do love the artwork on this redraw, but I do think something is lost when you take away those color tones and like mixtures of colors that we had on the original Volume 10, but this one is still great. And then we've got Dragon Ball Volume 11. We've got Goku and Oolong sitting on top of this blue spider bike thing that's got these spiky teeth on it. It looks really cool, and I don't think we ever see anything like this in the actual continuation of the story in either the manga or the anime, but it goes back to what I was saying at the very beginning, with us getting to see things that we otherwise would not have seen before. I think any of the manga covers where Goku's just got his power pole out and he's on some kind of mechanical vehicle and you see it driving at like a fast pace, it does capture that OG Dragon Ball feel, and this one is no exception. I would definitely put this one up into S tier alongside the other ones where he's on some type of vehicle going forward. And then we've got the 40th Anniversary redraw for Volume 11, which was done by Masashi Kishimoto, who did Naruto, and this version actually feels way more alive than the original version of the manga cover. You have Goku in an action pose where he's like fully flying off the vehicle. You have Oolong like losing his hat. You have the mechanical vehicle with one wheel going forward. It kind of feels like everything is alive in here. Instead of the vehicle being like a stagnant thing that they're just riding on, it almost feels like the vehicle is a character itself, which I really think is sick. And then we've got Dragon Ball Volume 12, where everyone's in a yellow Capsule Corporation van with the label Dragon Ball on top of it. It also has the Kami symbol on the back as well. You've got Master Roshi driving with the Kame hat on. You have Bowl Cut Yamcha in the passenger seat, and Goku and Krillin in the back seat. Overall, I think this one's alright, but I do think this might be the weakest one that we've seen so far. I would probably put this one into B tier. I don't think it's bad by any means, but I think when you compare it to all of the other covers that are out there, I really don't think it has as much going on, and it also doesn't really capture that feeling of Dragon Ball like we get with any of the other ones as well. It's very static and we don't really see a whole lot going on with all the characters crammed into one vehicle. I still love the art, don't get me wrong, but I think when you compare it to all of the other ones, it's a little bit lower on the scale. However, when you look at the 40th anniversary redraw by Yusuke Murata, who did One Punch Man, this one is way more alive. And it's kind of what you come to expect when it comes to a Dragon Ball manga cover, given everything that's above the one that we just talked about with Volume 12. All of the other ones have a little bit more action, a little bit more story to tell, whereas this one is kind of just everyone cramped in a car, but the redraw kind of fixes that. You have Goku like flying over to another car, and you have two other cars on the side, and you feel the speed happening, even though it's a completely still frame, which is what I really, really like about this redraw. I think the redraw actually does this panel better than the original, which I didn't think I would ever say about any of the redraws on this list, but I think somehow it happened with Volume 12. And then we've got Dragon Ball Volume 13. This one is iconic. Goku is hitting that really confident pose. His hair is going into the Dragon Ball logo. It is one of the best manga covers out there. It's simple, it's not trying to do too much, it's subtle, and I love the expression that Goku has on this cover as well. It's just so good. And I would put this as the second highest Z tier on this list so far, mainly because it just is that iconic. And then we have the redraw of Volume 13 done by Kohei Horikoshi, who did My Hero Academia, and even though I do really like this redraw, I don't think it holds a candle to the original. I think the original sweeps this one out of the water. And then we've got Dragon Ball Volume 14. This is the very first volume that we see adult Goku get featured on, and he's wearing a bag, he's got his power pole on his back, he's now wearing his blue undershirt that we all know from Dragon Ball Z, and he's on a purple and yellow bike with the number 14 on it because this is the 14th manga cover. And this is a Capsule Corporation bike, you can tell because where Goku's feet is, you can see the little Capsule Corporation logo. I do like this one for being the first time that we see adult Goku, but it is a little odd seeing him on a motorbike, especially the adult version of Goku. I think it really works when he's a kid, especially with Volume 5 where he's on the little motorcycle where it's like his size, but for me it feels a little weird. And for me, I think I would put this one into A tier, but high A tier. And then we've got the 40th anniversary version of Volume 14 done by Tadadoshi Fujimaki, who did Kokoro's Basketball. And this one I absolutely love because instead of it being a redraw of what we originally saw with Goku on the motorcycle, it's the aftermath of Goku on the motorcycle. And you see Goku looking down at the wreckage pile that he made by crashing the bike, which to me makes so much sense. And I love that it's like a continuation of the original version instead of a one-to-one redraw like all of the other ones are. And then you've got Dragon Ball Volume 15. You've got Goku in a car with Krillin, they're both wearing goggles for racing, and they're both just casually driving together. Goku has really long sleeves on his gi for some reason in this one, which reminds me a lot of what Goten wears when he's introduced way later. But overall, I think this one's okay. We have a lot of shots of Goku in vehicles, but a lot of them are very much action shots. This one kind of reminds me of Volume 14, the one that we literally just looked at, where he's just in a vehicle and he's just kind of going. He's not really swapped outfits or anything. I think I would probably put Volume 15 into A tier as well as Volume 14. They both kind of give off the same vibe and they're both kind of static. And then we have the Volume 15 40th anniversary redraw done by Tetsuya Endo, who did Spy X Family. And this one's basically a one-to-one redraw of what we had originally. The only real difference between this and the original is that Goku's looking off in the distance and the entire color palette is a little more muted than the original. I like the redraw, but I like it about as much as I like the original as well. And finally, we have Volume 16 of OG Dragon Ball. This one is amazing. I love this one. For the first time out of any OG Dragon Ball manga volume, you have Goku actually stanced up and ready to fight in a real action shot. It's not him riding a vehicle or riding a motorcycle, it's him, and you have Piccolo in the background, just huge. Really conveying how much of a looming threat Piccolo is, even though this is not the original version of Demon King Piccolo that we had before this version. And I really, really like that on this one, it features a villain, because on all of the other manga covers, it does not, except for the one that showed General Blue in Volume 6. And even then, General Blue's kind of like in the background, he's not as important as Goku in that shot. But this one really conveys that Piccolo is a big threat by literally making him big on the manga cover. This one for me is without a doubt a Z tier. It definitely deserves to go up there. And our final 40th anniversary redraw for Volume 16 done by Hideaki Sorachi, who did Gintama. This one for me is alright. I think Piccolo's face is a little cursed. I don't really like the way that his teeth look in this one, and I also don't love that they changed Goku's hair radically, but I still think it is a decent redraw. It's kind of a one-to-one remake with the redraw artists kind of putting in their own little quirks inside of it, but overall I'm not mad at it. And with that being said, that is every single OG Dragon Ball manga cover ranked from Z tier all the way down to, I guess, B tier for this one, because there was nothing that I could rank lower than B. I'm gonna be so real, nothing deserves to go lower than that. I'm gonna be so real, it's so hard to rank these because I love all of these. Let me know what you would change, let me know how you would rank these. Do not forget to like and subscribe if you want us to do this for Dragon Ball Z as well, and maybe even Dragon Ball Super in the future. And also, let us know what you want us to rank next, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, thanks for watching till the end of the video. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to all of this month's patrons. I really do appreciate your continued support. If you're looking for more content from me, you can always check out our second channel, Retrora Live. Hope to see you over there, and I'll see you next time.